Wow, wow, wow. Oh my goodness, you guys. How are my champions today? I am celebrating today because it is Easter week, also known as Holy Week. And we are saying wow, and we're meaning it like, wow, wow. Because in Easter week, in Holy Week, we are looking at good news, the promise of a better life, right? Well, I'm Coach Tina, and I am the Empowering Champions community founder, and I'm on a mission as a woman who wants to reach her highest level possible, the successful life that I've dreamt about, right? But it's not, it's more than that. It's like what's in my heart. And I encourage you to do the same because women are amazing, right? I remember when my kids were young, they came home one day and they were like, guess what, mom? And they put up their three fingers on each side and they went, when I open my mouth, it spells wow. And I laughed at them and I said, oh, that's great. That's great. And then I turned my fingers the other direction and I said, you know what this spells? And of course, it was mom, right? And they just thought that was really cool. And I made the connection there between being a mom and wow, right? Like they're two peas of the same pod for sure. And it was reinforced this last weekend on Friday night. Chris and I do date night on Friday nights. And we had pre planned to go to our church's Seder dinner. And so this is a Jewish tradition, but it was taught by a rabbi who is a Christian. So he did a lot of discussion in the Passover meal. So we all participated in a Passover meal. And he explained each part as the Jewish tradition would have had it, like think Jesus's time, and then what it meant in light of New Testament, like how the Old Testament prophecies were coming true and why certain things had to happen and what it meant in that Passover meal at Jesus's Last Supper. So that was really cool. The interweaving of everything. Jason Sobel is the name of the rabbi, and he is also the the consultant to the chosen. And so the really cool tie between all of that is Chris and I made a pact that, well, back when Lent started, that we would rewatch the last season of The Chosen. And there were 8 episodes. We had 6 weeks. We are very busy, but we were afraid we wouldn't be able to double up. Nope, we finished it in the first 3 weeks. And then we were like, oh, what do we do now? So at the Passover dinner, the Seder dinner, one of the things we did was we were like, let's go back and watch just the Passover dinner sections, which is the very first segment. And they were done in reverse chronological order. So we watched the Passover again this weekend. And oh my gosh, it's just so good. So I'm getting a lot of insights into past and present and how they are interwoven on purpose, right? Now, of course, God did it on this huge, big scale. But one of the things that Rabbi Sobel said at the dinner was none of it would have been possible without women. That the entire Bible story was about women stepping up into a role that maybe they didn't even want or didn't think was possible. And yet they pushed through. And because they had babies and had strong positions and led in amazing ways, we have the life we have today. And I thought that was pretty cool. So they all said yes. And as we go into our series, so remember in the Empowering Champions community, I've been selecting certain topics to talk about. And we are starting a new series in our Rewrite the Script. Did I do it right? Did I do it right? Yes, pointing to the right thing. Yay. In our Rewrite the Script theme for the year, we are looking at what about our story is amazing And what could be even better? And we're doing that with the idea of wow. And wow is actually an acronym I have for myself this year. It's based on when I went to Las Vegas last year with a group of friends at a conference called Be Love. And there was a certain point where we had to claim this identity of who we were going to be. And we had picked 3 words: I am, I am, I am. And we ranted until we came up with our words. And my 3 words that came out of my mouth and settled in my heart were wild, open, and worthy. And when I did it, I was like, yes, it's my wow statement. So I am wild, which I spent some time journaling on. What did it mean to be wild? Like, I'm not the pull your shirt up over your head kind of wild from Las Vegas, right? I, in researching it, what I discovered I liked about the word wild was the natural ability, like the lion in the forest, right? The unbroken nature of wild, like no one can tame it. It just is what it is. And I love that concept. There's a song by Natasha Bedington, and it's called Wild Horses. And it's one of the songs that I just love the freedom that comes out of that concept. Now, open is about being authentic, about being vulnerable. And it's been wonderful because in my breathwork practice, I'm practicing expansion and being open. And I get to do it in my body as well as in my head. Like, this is what my head wants. Now, my heart is agreeing, my body is agreeing with the openness. And then we have the worthy. And everybody knows I have my 3-day event called the Greatness Show on Worth, because I recognize that if our worth isn't in alignment, then everything else messes up. And that's why I, gleamed on to the ULA concept of you are designed by God for greatness and a purpose. Because if you don't have that purpose, if you don't know what you're doing, why you're doing it, if you're not compelled towards a future that just opens you up, then everything just doesn't work out very well. And it gets convoluted and foggy. And what you need is that clarity, that momentum that drives you to the thing that matters most to you. So this series is going to run for about 3 to 4 weeks. And it is going to be based on the concept of wow. And, whether you look at that as your own 3 words, whether you see yourself when you look in the mirror going, wow. In fact, put wow in the comments right now and just embrace that you as a woman are amazing. There is so much wow in you. There is so much wonder in you. And this session that we're going to be going on, what I want to do is pull in like evidence of growth in your own life instead of, maybe you're poo-pooing or thinking that you haven't grown. Sometimes we got to take a moment and embrace the path. Like I always used to work with my students and say, we want to take you from A to B. And what that means is, like there might be a C way out there that you want to go to, but B is that place where you're standing right now and you turn and you look over your shoulder and you see where you've been and you can tell that there's been a change. There's been movement from A to B. And so that's what we're looking for, evidence of growth, and then honoring the journey that's taken you from A to B, right? Like you have to look at it. You have to see it. You have to appreciate it. Just like we talk about gratitude is one of the most important attributes of life. Well, part of that is honoring the journey, seeing those pains and those hurts and the hard times, and recognizing that in order to get to the top, you have to go through the valley, right? Okay. And the other thing we want to do in this time period is we really want to think about how sometimes, like when we look back at that person that we were, we recognize that the dreams that that person had don't really apply anymore. And we want to understand that and expand even more. And I'll tell you what I mean by that, because this process is about reflecting, reclaiming, and rising. Okay. And today's all about reflecting. So when I look at the last 5 years of my life, wow, okay, that's really where my heart goes, is just, I can't believe it. Now, when I did a Tony event for the first time in 2020, one of the things he said that stuck with me is most of us will think we can do more in a year than is possible. Okay, so we think we can get this thing done. And yet we accomplish so much more in a decade than we ever thought possible. Does that make sense? Like our long-term, short-term goals and ideals and reality are kind of skewered up. But the reality is we are making progress and we are doing things that we can't imagine. And I know I've told you that when I went to Fiji in January of 25, so just over a year ago, I remember having that moment where I'm standing in Fiji, not life and wealth. My husband was a Platt. And I just kind of broke down because my Date with Destiny poster from 2020, where we declared our 1-year goals, I had written Fiji on there. And I had written Fiji because that sounded so amazing. Like, would I ever really get to go to Fiji? But that was the biggest dream I could think of, was Fiji. And you'll notice I didn't put Platt on there, even though by that time I'd gone to a couple of Tony events already. I was in Date with Destiny. I'd heard the Platt pitch several times. But the first time I looked at Platt, I was like, oh my gosh, that is so expensive. Who would ever do a program that was that expensive? Interesting, right? And then here I was in Fiji, in the place that I put on my poster. Now, it was 5 years later, so it wasn't a year, but I didn't give up on it either. And I didn't actually like work hard at it. I just believed in what was possible. And I kept doing the next right thing, which eventually led me to Fiji as a Platt. How crazy is that? Well, that made me really start to look at some of the other things. And that was like, our Platt year was amazing. We did so many things that I had never anticipated. And while I knew what was going to happen, like we knew that there was going to be an adventure trip, and the adventure trip, I didn't go on the adventure trip, but we knew that there was going to be a happiness trip. And the happiness trip is normally in Abu Dhabi, and then we would go on to India. And so those were things that I knew were going to happen. So I didn't really make a goal for it because that was part of the experience. But something happened when we were in India, and that was we got the opportunity to go to the Taj Mahal. Now, Chris was done with his part of it. It was just our time together in India. And we did everything we needed to. We got on a train, we went with some friends, and we went to the Taj Mahal. And oh my gosh, it was just so beautiful. It was amazing. And there was this moment when I saw, like, we heard of the story behind the Taj Mahal about the love that the person who built it or had it built, he did it as a love offering to his woman, that his queen that he loved so much, and she died. And so it was a monument to their love, basically. And so there's this, it's kind of hidden around a fortress, right? And so then you walk into this, through the gates, and you can see it like it's framed. And as soon as I saw it, I just burst into tears. There was so much beauty and love and feeling behind it. And I thought, what just happened? So I had never put the Taj Mahal down as an option to go visit. I had never said, oh, I want to go to the Taj Mahal one day. I'd seen pictures of it. I'd seen, read stories about it. And I never thought I would get to do it. And that's when I realized this expansion that was happening in me was that I wasn't even able to dream big enough for what was actually available and easy to do in the world. So I want you to really notice that growth in you. It may not be the Taj Mahal or Fiji, but there are areas in your life where you once said, I couldn't do this. And now you're seeing that it's happened. And as Tony likes to say, you need to go back and look at the breadcrumbs on the blueprint that got you there. because that same blueprint will work for you in all areas of your life. Okay. So maybe my blueprint is I don't have to dream the really big dreams that I can't even imagine, but I can do the little things that somehow lead to the bigger than I ever imagined moments. And so I can just rest in that, knowing that I don't have to have it all figured out. Because you see, success leaves clues, and so does your own life. And so as you look back and you see those things, you can start to say, oh, okay, I can see where this is actually a good thing. There's a pattern here. There's a way that I can make this work. So I want you to imagine going back into your past and having new eyes for what you see. Remember, life happens for you. Even though there's been some really hard times that we've had to go through, you probably can understand that there was a lesson there, or a value that changed, or a trajectory of something that shifted so that you could be exactly where you are now. Yeah. So I have some homework for you guys on this chapter of the week, and it is to go back through your life over the last 5 years and to really look at, like, what are the 10 things that were the biggest change that you've experienced in the last 10 years. And then circle the 3 that reveal the most about who you get to become in the future. Yeah, that's going to be fun, isn't it? So the 10 things that happened in the last 5 years, and the 3 on that list that point to a future you that you want to explore more, that you notice is happening, that if you follow the little thread, you would be like, yeah, this is nature unfolding as it should, which is kind of like the word wild. Okay. So I hope you will be open to this and recognize that you are worthy of the best future possible. And if you're looking for a way to make all of that come into alignment and make more sense, I have found the best tool I have ever discovered, and that is breathwork. And my type of breathwork, I'm calling it all in breathwork. It's conscious, continued breathing pattern that puts you into a state that kind of shuts down the head and instead lets you access the subconscious and your heart. And actually today in my breathing, because I'm doing it too, you guys, every day, there was this alignment between my heart and my head. It wasn't that they were in a battle. It was that they were in agreement with the future. That felt pretty cool. And if you would like to participate in the breathwork, please put breathwork in the comments. It is an outstanding practice. I have a coupon for those of you in the Empowering Champions community with a significant discount off of the rate. I am doing it weekly. It changes every week. So if you want to get in on the wow, the wonder of life version that will be happening, it's going to be Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern time. And so it's about a 1-hour class. It's going to absolutely change your life like it did mine. And all you need to do is be open to the possibility that it could change your life in a radical way. And I would love to see you there. All right. So if you have any questions, make sure you DM me, catch up with me, put it in the comments, whatever you need. We'll put the link to the event so you can sign up. When you RSVP for it, we'll send you the link where you can get enrolled in the class. You have to sign a waiver and a couple of things, make sure that medically you're able to attend. But we really look forward to seeing you there because you matter. And I want you to reach that next level. Okay. Love you lots. Have a fantastic day, and we will talk to you soon.